Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to one more module of our body of knowledge in the maintenance and reliability field. This module is on workforce management. I'm your host. My name is Hussein Al Ali, and I welcome you all for this delivery of this module. Hire, inspire, admire, and retire. The agenda for this presentation: what is workforce management, key challenges and objectives, core elements of workforce management, change and organizational culture, workforce planning, employee life cycle, understanding the generation gap, benchmarking in workforce management. We will talk about also designing organization structures. So what is workforce management? Workforce management is a system used to report and measure the workforce's efficiency. And it is a system that captures data. Without data, we cannot measure. And without measurement, we cannot plan workloads. Without planning, we cannot manage productivity. And without managing productivity, we cannot identify whether things are getting better or worse. So what are the key challenges? Recruitment of quality employees, retention of quality employees, avoiding negative workforce culture, avoiding a situation where we have poor workforce skills, which can lead subsequently to many mistakes, many misunderstandings, low productivity, high cost, and low profit outcomes. The only thing that makes any sense is to create change within the organizational culture. Let's look at the pragmatic objectives. Every organization wants to have higher profits, which comes from higher revenue, and wants to have lower costs. Profits comes from productivity, quality, pride, teamwork, loyalty, commitment, and cohesion. And high costs can come from mistakes, misunderstandings, turnover, absenteeism, sabotage, complaints, and frustration. The success of workforce management hinges on implementation of the following core, though interdependent goals. Aligning the workforce with business strategy. That is the most important thing an organization can do. Alignment is so powerful in driving productivity and high profit to organizations. And attracting, developing, and retaining key talent, managing diversity, designing organization structure for best integration of maintenance and reliability functions, succession planning, developing a leadership culture, establishing and maintaining a learning environment, and creating a flexible work environment. Let's talk about change. And we'll start by going over the story of the eagle. Very interesting story about the value and importance of change. The eagle has the longest lifespan of its species. It can live up to 70 years. But to reach this age, the eagle must make a hard decision. In its 40s, ladies and gentlemen, its long and flexible talons can no longer grab prey which serves as food. Very crucial for its life, of course. Its long and sharp beak becomes bent at the age of 40, ladies and gentlemen. Its old, aged, and heavy wings, due to their thick feathers, become stuck to its chest and make it difficult to fly. And then the eagle is left with only two options: die at the age of 40 or soon after, or go through a painful process of change which lasts 150 days. The process requires that the eagle fly to a mountain top and sit on its nest. There, the eagle knocks its beak against a rock until it plucks it out. The eagle will wait for a new beak to grow back, and then it will pluck out its talons. When its new talons grow back, the eagle starts plucking its old age feathers. And after 5 months, the eagle takes its famous flight of rebirth and lives for 30 more years. How incredible! How incredible is this change process in order to regain 30 more years of life? So in the case of the eagle, it is an absolute necessity to do this change process, otherwise it will just die soon after passing the age of 40. So 5 months of patience, dedication, hard work in order to regain 30 more years of life. How incredible. So why change? Many times in order to survive, we have to start a change process. Sometimes we need to get rid of old memories, habits, and other past traditions that no longer adapt or apply to the current and future age. Organizational change is needed in order to align the company with changing business environment. And the changes can be due to external factors. They can also be due to internal factors. So what are some of the external factors that organizations have to adapt to? Maybe changes in market volumes, changing product profile, competition on price and variety, segment, product specifications, change in business environment driven by government policies, either local or foreign, and the changes that are due to internal factors can be as a result of skills of employees, present technologies with respect to future product specifications driven by customers, maybe due to level of productivity, quality, cost, may also be as a result of morale of employees. Now, the change process. Management creates policy and provides the vision and mission. So management need to plan and think, strategize. Then they need to share with their employees to make sure that their employees understand the vision of management. There has to be alignment. It's no good that management have one vision, but the employees are not aware of. So you really must have this alignment in order for the process of change to start. Environment makes people. If environment changes, people change. You know the old saying, structures dictate behavior. If you want to influence the behavior of your people, you must set the right structure in your organizations for your people to follow in order to adopt a change in their behavior. And leaders are most important for bringing change in an organization. Yeah, leaders, we must really take a pause on the value and importance of leaders because they are really the most important for bringing change in an organization. More about people work. Smart work is always better than hard work. So it's not about hard work, ladies and gentlemen. Look at ways for your people to work in a smart way. The what, the how, the when, why of the problem is more important than the who. So problems are created by people and hence they alone can find solutions for them. So engage your people in the process. Now think about teams and the style of working level. Team, of course, consists of a group of guys. It's a collection of peoples and a team leader and some people. A team is a collection of people related to one another who share a common objective and work in a collaboration with one another to achieve a common target. So you have to go through the process of getting the teams to perform, and the process of team building has 4 distinct phases: forming, storming, norming, and then performing. So you first form the team, allow the team members to express their ideas in a storming session or 2, and then normalize all these different ideas in the phase of norming before you can expect the team to start to perform. You have to realize these distinct phases and allow for them to naturally develop into a performance team. Let's explore the decision-making styles. Alone after input, leadership group, representative workforce group, or workforce. And the categories are, you can tell the guys, you decide with constraints. So you give them some form of constraints to allow them to maneuver within. Or you have an approach of let us decide as a team. Or you as a leader say, I'll ask you for your views and opinions, but then I'm accountable for that decision, so I will decide. Other alternative is I will ask you individually before I make my final decision, or I decide regardless. Various methodologies for making a decision And the one that is longer lasting is the one that is based on getting your team engaged with you in the decision-making process. Let's talk about the change factors and its outcome. For a change to be effectively achieved, you need to have right at the bottom line of this slide 5 elements aligned together in order for change to become successful. And that is vision, skills, resources, action plan, and rewards. If you have any of these missing from the formula, you will have different outcome. So if you don't have a vision, you're going to have confusion. If you don't have the skills to adapt the change, you're going to have anxiety. If you don't have the resources, you have everything else, but you don't have the resources, you're going to get frustration. If you don't have an action plan, well, you're just not going to be able to start. And if there are no rewards, what's in it for me? If you miss that element, yes, maybe the change will start, but it's going to be very slow. It's going to be very slow. So you need these 5 elements in the formula in order for change to be successful. Now let's talk about workforce planning. Workforce planning, simply stated, is the right number of people with the right competencies in the right jobs at the right time to accomplish the organization's goals and mission. So workforce planning is a systematic process for identifying and addressing the gaps between the workforce of today and also the workforce of tomorrow. You must have an eye on the future. Workforce planning is creating an integrated and ongoing strategy for ensuring an organization is prepared with the appropriate human capital to meet current and, like I said earlier, future needs. There are 6 steps to workforce planning. Number 1, defining the plan. Step number 2, visioning the future. Step number 3, defining the required workforce. Step number 4, understanding workforce availability. Step number 5, developing an action plan. And step number 6, implement, monitor, and refresh. Step 1, defining the plan. Why do you need the workforce plan and who is it intended for? What is the problem you are trying to solve? Who needs to be involved in developing the plan? What are the aims and objectives of the plan? What is the scope of the plan and what it covers? What is the time scale for the plan? Are there any other decisions that will affect or be affected by the plan? So you need to answer these questions. And under step number 2, which is visioning the future, is there a clear vision for the future delivery of the plan or service? What are the benefits of the plan or service change? What options are there for the delivery of this plan or service? Are there any changes or events that may impact on the delivery of the plan or service? Do you have any control over these changes? Have you considered the impact a successful or unsuccessful outcome of the plan may have? Again, there are these questions that you try to answer in coming up with your good plan. Step number 3 defining the required workforce. What are the key tasks within the service? What skills and competencies will you need in your workforce to deliver these tasks? Step number 4, understanding workforce availability. What staff do we have available with us now? What is the rate of staff starting and leaving our service? What are our options to develop and build our workforce? And what are the options for new ways of working? Again, 4 questions that we need to consider and try to answer. Under step number 5, how well do the current skills, roles, and numbers match the expected service need? What key changes are needed to the current workforce? Have you drawn up an action plan of your best options, which includes education and other strategies? How are you going to manage the change, timescales, responsibilities, champions? Step number 6, ladies and gentlemen, implement, monitor, and refresh. What needs to happen to ensure the plan is implemented? How will you measure your progress against the plan's goals, i.e. those agreed in step 1 and 2? Question number 3, what contingency plans or actions may be needed if the plan does not stay on course or goals are not being met? You need to consider the what-if scenarios. And the last question in this step, who, how, and when will the plan be reviewed? You have to think about review dates. Now, quickly here, we talk about employee life cycle. We come to this hire, inspire, admire, and retire. An employee life cycle covers the steps employees go through from the time they are hired in an organization until they leave. Human resource professionals often focus their attention on the steps in this process in the hope of making an impact on the organization's bottom line. After all, every organization I know says that our human resources are our most important asset. So what are these hire, inspire, admire, and retire? Hire, asking the right questions in the interview, understanding his or her professional goals. So you're not just looking for the skills when you are hiring, but you're also looking for the talent that an individual has, because you have to have an eye for the future. So hiring should be based on talent, not just skills. Compare candidate profile and back professional ground against company culture. In the face of inspire, people leave bosses and not companies. Lots of studies support this. So train managers for leadership skills. Help new joinee understand company goals. Create a crisp and clear career path for new joinee. Make new joinee understand what is expected out of him or her and the position. Admire, understand and accommodate personal social needs of employees. Keep employee motivated, don't ignore employees. Provide feedback on their day-to-day work. reward consistent performance and not just exceptional performance. And under the retire scope, work towards smooth exit for employees. Be in touch with employees for short tenure as a part of social courtesy. Provide easy and simple settlement, and if possible, help in their tax issues. Provide counseling in regards to retirement. They'll be loyal to your organization even after when they leave. Talk about workforce generation. What defines a generation? A generation is a group of people born during the same period and shares the same attitudes and values. The period is the factor to dividing the generations into groups. So how will generation impact to the workplace? When groups have the same values and attitudes, communication and other dynamics typically go smoother. When there are multiple groups and each group brings their own styles, values, and attitudes, this could create tension. It becomes more challenging for the leader. So we need to pay attention to this. Generation gaps at work means more work is needed to cultivate an environment that respects each generation's perspective and way of life. This also means the manager has to be observant and knowledgeable of the various traits associated with each generation. We come here from the principle that you need to know your strengths and you need to know your weakness. As human beings, we all have strengths and we have weaknesses. If we know our strengths and know our weakness, what we do, we enhance our strength and minimize the impact of our weakness. Predominantly, 3 generations of workers coexist in today's workplace. Following list reflects William Strauss and Neil Howe's organization from their book on generations. These 3 generations are baby boomers. Maybe some of them still exist in the workplace, although at minimizing numbers now. And those are born between 1944 and 1964. Generation X, born between 1965 and 1979. Generation Y, millennials, born between 1980 and 94. And Generation Z, born between 1995 and 2015. Generation Z, millennia, Generation X, and the baby boomers. Baby boomers, they grew up with fewer rules and a more nurturing environment. They lived in generally prosperous times but experienced layoffs. Their motto is live to work and spend quality time with children. Excelling in their careers is important. Prefer telephone or face-to-face communication. Their common values: optimism, team orientation, personal gratification, involvement, personal growth, workaholics, and they are competitors. How to empower them? They value power and prestige, networking and learning, and they look for long-term benefits. Generation X, they work to live. Friends with their child want to spend quality time, expect their career to keep moving forward or they will leave. Prefer electronic communications, change from job security to career security. Their common values: they're not afraid of diversity, they are techno literacy, fun and informal, self-reliance, pragmatism, and realists. They are results oriented and they challenge the system. How to empower? They take time to be personal, but they encourage growth. They want training, motivate through rewards and promotions, create ownership and build morale. Generation Y, millennials, prosperity has increased over their lifetime. Live, then work. That's their motto. Achievement oriented, prefer instant or text messaging. They want to build a parallel careers, experts in multitasking. Their common values: optimistic, confident, achievement oriented, respect for diversity, informal, and they have a can-do attitude. Social consciousness. How to empower? Work schedule flexibility, change and challenges. They will leave a higher paying job for the opportunity to experience something new. And they stay in a particular job often no more than 2 or 3 years. So some strengths and weaknesses and outlook of these 4 generations are here on the screen, which I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but just to show that a leader, a manager need to be aware of these in order to manage diversity in a best way, because this exists in our workforce, and in order to achieve better teamwork and integration of efforts, the leader needs to be aware of these things to be able to manage diversity in a much more effective way. Some benchmarking goals in workforce management. Well, let's start with this famous debate between a CFO and a CEO. CFO, of course, is the Chief Financial Officer. He goes to his boss and says, what happens if we invest in developing our people and then they leave us? We've lost all of our money onto them. But the wise CEO says, well, let me ask you another question. What happens if we don't develop them and they stay with us? The impact on the organization will be negative and more longer lasting. So you need to develop people. And some benchmarking in workforce management. With regard to percentage of overall budget, the low is 0.5 in terms of percentage, the high is 6.4, best of the best averages around 4.5%. In terms of training hours per employee, the low is 5 per annum, the high is 110, best of the best is 96 hours of training per annum per employee. Now talk about organization structure, especially with regards to the maintenance and reliability field. There are 3 types of organization structures which could be used to set up in maintenance and reliability organization. They are centralized. What is the meaning of centralized? A centralized organization structure is characterized by greater specialization and standardization. Centralized is where you have one boss for all of the maintenance and reliability activities of an organization. So all of the maintenance and reliability teams report to this one centralized position holder. And he deployed these resources to the various sections and departments in the organization. So there is one form. It used to be common. Another form of organization structure is decentralized. What is the meaning of decentralized? Decentralized means every maintenance and reliability department of a business unit is localized in that business unit. So maintenance and production report to the same boss of a certain organization. And another business unit will have its own maintenance and reliability team working closely with the production team reporting to one boss, and so on. So you have the maintenance and reliability teams segregated in accordance with the various business units of the organization. And the decentralized structure provides stronger ownership and responsiveness. It certainly creates better integration between production and maintenance. And a hybrid is a mixture of these two. Hybrid structure containing the best characteristics of both centralized and decentralized. In many cases, it is the optimal solution. So in designing the organization structure, it is important to address the following maintenance and reliability functions: PM program development, executions of PMs, preventive maintenance and corrective maintenance tasks, planning and scheduling, material spares, including tools availability, condition-based maintenance, predictive maintenance, and specialized skills, maybe laser alignment, failure elimination, and reliability planning, designing for reliability, resource management, and budgeting workforce developments, etc. So you need to take these in considerations and see how best to adapt your organization structure. Do you go for centralized? Do you go for decentralized? Or do you go for hybrid? Key challenges. Upside of fully decentralized: eliminates corporate politics over execution. The hybrid and the downside of fully decentralized: lacks clear vision of engagement strategy. Hybrid: heightened understanding of the customer, optimized and efficient spend. Sometimes it can have a downside of slow decision making. And the fully centralized, the upside of it: efficiency of the maintenance team of spend and allocation. But the downside of it: lack local market understanding and proximity to the customer. So you need to be aware of these upsides and downsides of the various organization structures. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this module on workforce management. If you want more information, you can reach us at info@arelic.com, and we'll be glad to respond to your queries. I wish you all the best, and on behalf of Arelic, have a pleasant day. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.